Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and we're going to visit one of my favourite Swedish craft breweries once again. I must have reviewed about 20 beers or so from these guys now. But for this review we're going to head up to Helsingborg, which is of course home to Brewski Mikrobryggeri, or Brewski Craft Brewery, Brewski Mikrobryggeri, whatever it is they're actually calling themselves in English these days. But this one is one of their recent releases. It's called the We're All Mad Here, and it comes in at 5.5% ABV, an American style pale ale, this one, and you can tell just from looking at the bottle that this is yet another of their hazy releases. I do like the Cheshire Cat with the hop in his eyes as well, but this is also a collaboration brew with Helsingborg's Hembryggeri, which is basically, that basically translates as Helsingborg's home brewers guild, if you like. So quite cool that they're bringing in the local home brewers and things like that as well with this one. So looking forward to trying this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we open up the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brewski before. No doubt I will add some more in the near future. They have in fact just released another couple of IPAs that I need to take a look at. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, let's tell you a little bit about Brewski Mikrobryggeri once again. And so Brewski were founded back in 2014, and as I mentioned to you, they're based in Helsingborg, which is kind of in the northwestern part of Skåne here in the south of Sweden. But the founders of the company are Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsson and Robin Skoglund, and all of these guys were really inspired to get into craft beer as a result of the West Coast American craft beers. But Marcus was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer that was brewed at Höganäs Brewery, a little bit again to the northwest of Helsingborg. I can't remember if you call that bit the Kullabergs Peninsula, but some of those beers are still brewed there of course. All the Brewski beers now though are brewed in their own facility in the old train yard in Helsingborg, which now has a capacity of around 100,000 litres of beer per month. In 2016 though, they also started their own festival which is called Brewskival. I was there in the second year that it opened. In the first year though, it had about 40 different brewers. I think they're up to around 60 these days when they open up. People from, they've had Chinese breweries, Estonians and various other ones in there, but they also used to open up their brewery once a month for what they called Barski, where they would invite people in, and you know, you could go and enjoy the beer straight from tap and keg and things like that. But they now have their own bar in Helsingborg as well, which goes by the same name, and you'll find that just one street behind the main shopping street in Helsingborg, and it's definitely worth a visit. They've got some nice ramen in there. It's not authentic Japanese ramen, I would say. They've got an American chef, but in my opinion, I think it's the food that they serve is pretty good, but it's not the kind of authentic Japanese ramen that you might expect. So, but go and check it out. You'll get some Brewski beers in there that you won't find through Systembolaget in Sweden. So it's definitely worth checking out, and it's a really nice little bar. In fact, I've been there a good couple of times now actually, and it's definitely worth it. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram, and that will keep you up to date with all the latest goings on there. And of course you can check out their Untappd list for all the different beers that they've done as well, because they are a pretty damn prolific brewery in my experience. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. We can get rid of the brewery notes. So like I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a 5.5% American pale ale brewed in collaboration with Helsingborg's Home Brewers Guild. As I say, you can see the nice Cheshire Cat artwork on this one. It's got the typical Brewski Brewery bottle cap, and it says on the side here, "We're all mad here. Ever feel like I don't want to go among mad people, like the world has been turned on its head, like up is down? We don't really care. We're mad enough to make a clear pale ale with a multi-core in these hazy times. We are doing it with the craziest bunch of organised homebrewers we know, HBG2. They have been this mad for 10 years. We have some catching up to do." Yeah. So they're saying this one's clear, but if I hold it up to the light, it just looks on the bottle that it's no actually that clear. So yeah, that will be interesting to see. But one thing I would say, when it comes to madness, it's a bit difficult to beat the, you know, it is a little bit difficult to beat the Scots and the Irish on that. The Celtic blood does give you kind of genetic insanity, so we'll see. But yeah, this one it is actually quite clear. That's interesting. Oh, it's going to have a bit of a big head on it, but I'm sure that'll settle down after a little bit. Maybe I poured it just a little touch too aggressively, but what can you do? So yeah, oddly enough, they're saying it's a clear paleo, but look at that. It actually comes out of the bottle as being pretty hazy, so yeah, that is a bit unusual. But yeah, if I hold this beer up to the light, you know, you can actually see, to be honest with it, compared to some of the other beers you're going to get from Brewski, you know, Conan the Barbarian and Little Big Hoppy and some of these other ones that I've reviewed before, it's not the haziest that you're going to come across. I think the last beer I reviewed from these guys before filming this one was actually way wheat green, and that was good. It was just weird that it was a green beer. I think they were having a bit of a play of words on Ray Green from Friends or something like that. But yeah, nice looking beer. This one definitely not quite as hazy as some of the other Brewski ones you'll come across. You can see that the head on this one has just kind of faded down a little bit, and it's actually now a kind of bumpy, perfect white head. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall it looks pretty nice. Nothing surprising about this beer when you consider it's an American paleo in terms of its appearance, and particularly when it comes from Brewski as well. So they said it was meant to be clear, but to be honest it is pretty hazy. But yeah, let's look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. Aroma on this one's pretty nice, I have to say. So for me, this one's coming across as being, you know, sort of apricot-y, pineapple-y, if you like. I wonder what hop it is they would have used in that. You know, I don't think it's, you know, I don't think this is going to be Galaxy or anything like that. It's not pungent enough to be Galaxy. It's a nice juicy tropical fruit note you're getting out of this one. Could it be like Idaho 7 or something? I don't know. But yeah, nice sort of juicy tropical fruity note to this one. As I said, apricots, a little bit of pineapple maybe like some papaya or something like that too. I want to say there's a little bit of an orangey note to this one, like a very light kind of tangerine orange. There could be a little bit of a mosaic. They could have added a little bit of mosaic to this one, I don't know. But to me there is a little touch of an orangey quality in there, but mainly it's a juicy kind of tropical fruit note that comes out of this one. So yeah, fruity side of this beer is quite nice. I would say that this isn't one of the more pungent aromas you're going to get from a Brewski beer compared to some of the other ones I've had in the past. I think this beer is just meant to be a nice kind of easy drinking sessioner, if you like. So yeah, in terms of the green side of the hops then, I would describe this one as being is leaning towards the grassy end of the spectrum, to be quite honest. It definitely leans towards that grassy side of things. There's a little bit of floral quality there, but to me mainly this comes across as a little bit grassy. There's a nice little bit of there's a little touch of earthiness to it. In terms of the malt base, it's actually quite sweet, oddly enough. It's almost got like a little bit of a bread and buttery, almost slightly soapy aroma to it, this one, which is unusual. So yeah, there's a little bit of a sweetness to the malt base in this. Can't quite pinpoint exactly what it is, but yeah, a little bit of almost like bread and butter quality. Little bit of a pale malty note as well, and some kind of biscuity sweetness. So yeah, an unusual combination of aromas for this one, and one of the more unusual aromas I think I've had from Brewski over the last little while. So yeah, as I always say with this one, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But this one is the We're All Mad here, a 5.5% American Paleo from Brewski Mikrobryggeri up in Helsingborg in collaboration with Helsingborg's Hembryggeriet, if I've pronounced that correctly, the Helsingborg's Homebrewers Guild. Some of these Swedish words are annoying to pronounce, but yeah, let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. I like how this one goes together. It's this, like I was saying, this is just a nice, fresh, kind of easy-going beer, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. I'm going to say that straight away. This is definitely one of the less kind of thick and more sessionable beers that I've had from Brewski. And I mean, I don't know if that's a fair statement, to be honest. The thing with the Brewski beers is, they're always very... I've always found that Brewski beers are very pungent and strong, and I mean, they're the sort of beers, I love them, but I would only drink one of them. This is the first one I can think of that I've kind of, you know, that I've come across out of their beers that is like really seriously sessionable. So that's an interesting twist of events, if you like, from Brewski. I like this one, I really do actually, so big thumbs up to them on this beer. I always enjoy trying the Brewski beers, and it's kind of cool. They always stick to the same styles, roughly, in fairness, but they always do seem to throw something in there that's just a little bit different, and for me, this is a really good beer. It's a bit of a shame if this is only going to be a one-off brew, to be honest with you, because that is pretty good. But yeah, the way this goes together is pretty nice, I think. So this beer, I'm curious about what yeast they would have used in this, because it comes across, it almost has a little bit of that kind of old school farmhousey, New Englandy type thing. For example, if you try Heady Topper, you get this sort of vegetally herbal kind of thing. I don't know if even that's a good descriptor for it, but it comes across as being, you know, slightly farmhousey, grainy, herbal, vegetal. It's some kind of combination of all those different things. But yeah, I really like how the way the yeast comes across in this one. I was a bit unsure of it when I first tried Heady Topper, because I wasn't used to, of course, most of the New England style beers that we get over here in Sweden tend to lean towards the sweeter side of things, and it's only recently with the kind of birth of the Kvike IPAs and stuff like that, there's been a little bit more interest in that, and I suspect that the Kvike IPAs have come out a little bit, one because, you know, the Norwegians are wanting to get their traditional ales back and things like that, and it's a new sub-style being born, but also probably because of the fact that some of these New England, more farmhousey type IPAs, if you like, have become a bit more widely available over here in Europe. So it's an interesting thing to think about that. The malt base, you can feel in the malt base of this beer, it does have that little kind of slightly herbal, vegetally, kind of grainy sort of base in there. Other than that, it's a fairly straight up pale malt, white bready kind of thing. This beer for me doesn't have so much of a it doesn't have so much of an oaty creaminess. There's definitely a kind of grainy type thing to this one. Could it be, I don't know, is it yeah, could it be a little bit of rye or something like that, or some other type of grain? I don't know. There's definitely a grainy. The further you go into the aftertaste with this beer, the middle of your palate is just going to dry out a little bit, and you're going to start getting a little bit more of a kind of grainy quality sitting in the middle of your palate too. So yeah, this beer does evolve to be a little bit more grainy the further that you go into the aftertaste. There is a little bit of a biscuity sweetness in the middle of the tongue too, but when you move further out from the centre of your palate, there's definitely a sort of grainy quality to this one. So just bear that in mind when you try this beer. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you've got a little bit of earthiness, and that does build a good bridge between the grainy aspects of the flavour that you'll find in this beer. As you come further forward from that, you start to lean a little bit more towards the floral aromatic side of things, and then round the very front curve of the palate it's just a little bit lighter and more grassy. Behind the front curve of the palate, as I always say, that's where you get that little oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters push their way out of the beer. And for me, the interesting thing with this one is that it's a little bit, it's not quite as tropical and juicy as I was expecting from the aroma. It's definitely leaning more towards the kind of citrusy side of things. It's almost a little bit lemon and limey. But in fairness, when you go further into the aftertaste, you start to get a little bit of that kind of apricot-y note that you were picking up in the aroma as well. So for me, a little bit apricot-y. Don't know whether I could say there's a bit of mango or papaya or something in there as well, but on the very tip of the tongue it's a little bit sort of lemon limey, if you like, actually. So yeah, an interesting beer, this one, in terms of how everything goes together, and I like the fact that it's got a little bit more of that kind of grainy, farmhousey type quality to it as well. So an interesting one, and like I say, Brewski will keep you on your toes. They will always vary their beers up a little bit actually. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, this is a fairly light bodied beer. I would say it's kind of in the middle of light bodied in fairness. Carbonation does have a good little bit of crispness to it. The mouthfeel overall is a little bit wet. It does have a little bit of smoothness to it, but mainly it's leaning more towards the wetter side of things, so a nice kind of quite refreshing beer. Carbonation is a bit active too, so it does have a level of crispness. Malt base, like I said, mainly leaning towards the sort of grainier side of things. There's a bit of smoothness in there and a teensy bit of sweetness, but mainly leaning towards the grainy side of things in my mind. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. I think you're talking about 30 IBUs with this one, which is kind of standard for this beer style these days, and you've got a nice little bit of fruitiness in there as well. It's not the most juicy fruity beer, this one. It is a little bit kind of sharper and dry in terms of its fruity character as well. But overall, another interesting beer from Brewski, and in fairness, when you've tried as many as I have from Brewski, you can't really ask them for much more than that. So yeah, thumbs up to them for this, and I wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. Definitely one of the more sessionable beers that I've had from these guys over the last little while. So yeah, let's leave it at that then. This one is the We're All Mad here from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg and Skåne here in the south of Sweden, a collaboration with the Helsingborg Home Brewers Guild. So yeah, interesting beer this one, and I'm glad I was able to review it. So as always, please let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brewski as well, and I'm sure I'll return to these guys in the fairly near future. So until the next time, it's Slanger just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Make sure you check out my social media and have a go at this beer if you want a nice kind of sessionable, sort of grainy New England IPA. Slanger, Skål.